Well, a famous person once said, use your enemy's strength against them. Well, that is seemingly the strategy that the M23 has applied in Eastern DRC, because now the SAMIDRC has put pressure on the FARDC, which has also put pressure on the Wazalendo to stop their fighting against the M23 on different fronts. Well, the SAMIDRC has come out to say that they were not involved in that particular attack against the M23. I'm going to show you that statement by the SAMIDRC Joint Chiefs that said that that accusation is false and misleading. Well, the M23 on the other side is saying that right now we are not offering any kind of a possibility of the SAMIDRC leaving Goma through the airport, and now they will have to face the road. They will have to go through Kigali, and that is something that SAMIDRC did not want. Well, this is bona fide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the DRC crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, the M23 called for an immediate withdrawal of the SAMIDRC troops from Eastern DRC, the territories where the AFC M23 occupies. And they say that they are not going to facilitate the withdrawal of these forces from the Goma International Airport. They will have to face the road. The immediate withdrawal means that they will have to go to Kigali International Airport, and then that is where they will leave Eastern DRC back to their countries. But the SADC came out just a few hours ago to refute the claims that they were involved in that particular attack, that the M23 says that they coordinated with the FARDC and FDLR to fight the M23 in their positions. According to the SADC, 14th April 2025, Gaborone, Botswana, the Southern Africa Development Community, SADC, has noted with concern the contents of an official communique issued on 12th of April 2025 by the AFC M23, which alleges that the SADC mission in Democratic Republic of Congo, SAMIDRC, has engaged in joint military operations alongside the FARDC, FDLR, and Wazalendo militia in Goma against the M23. The statement went on to say that the SADC firmly refutes these allegations. SAMIDRC has not participated in any joint operations as claimed. These assertions are both inaccurate and misleading. In alignment with the directive of the SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government, SAMIDRC is currently implementing a structured and coordinated withdrawal from the DRC. SADC further reaffirms its commitment to the agreements reached during the consultative engagement held on 28 March 2025 in Goma between the SADC and the leadership of the M23. The organization remains dedicated to supporting peaceful and diplomatic efforts aimed at achieving lasting stability in the Eastern DRC. The SADC Secretariat urges all parties to act responsibly, refrain from the spread of misinformation, and work collectively towards de-escalation and the restoration of peace in the region. The statement, as released by SADC regarding the information that they participated in the recent attack against the M23, while there was an agreement by the heads of state of SADC that there is a termination of the SAMIDRC, meaning that they should not be engaged in any kind of an attack or warfare or military engagement in Eastern DRC. But now, because there is a change of plans, what is at stake here? The SAMIDRC had agreed with the M23 that they will withdraw through the Goma International Airport. Why? Because it makes the logistics easier. It makes it very easy for the troops and the equipment to leave via the airport, because a carrier will just land at Goma International Airport. It will be a very short journey from where they are situated to the airport, and all the equipment, the military equipment, will leave Eastern DRC to go back to their respective countries. And we are talking about the South African National Defense Forces, the Malawi Defense Forces, and the Tanzania's People Defense Forces. They are the ones who are making up the SAMIDRC, but most of them are from the South African National Defense Forces. And what is particularly very important about the withdrawal of these forces are the equipment, the military equipment that are very precious, they're very expensive for them to live in Eastern DRC. That is why they had this engagement with the M23 that they should allow them to rehabilitate the Goma International Airport so that it will make logistical movements very easy for them to move with the equipment. But right now, because they have been asked for an immediate withdrawal from the Eastern DRC, it has complicated their movement further. Because moving with this equipment via road is slow and there are rough roads between where they are and Kigali International Airport. And this plan now has to actively involve Rwanda. It means that the South African National Defense or the SAMIDRC or SADC will have now to ask for permission of the Rwandan government for them to move in Rwandan territory and for them to board their planes at the Kigali International Airport. But what is the context of this? Why are we here? Why is the SAMIDRC now actively involved, even though they came out and say that we will not be part of what is happening in Eastern DRC now? We have signed agreements among SADC leadership. We are now signing agreements with the M23 that we are not going to be involved in the Eastern DRC conflict and we want to go out. And they came out later to say that we did not get involved in this attack that happened in Goma. Well, analysts are opining that the counteroffensive by the FARDC towards Goma might have spooked the M23 leadership enough that they are now looking to remove or disarm the SAMIDRC troops from their bases. This could be a plan to remove a perceived risk, or perhaps it is to pressure SADC so that SADC could now pressure Kinshasa. And that is seemingly what has happened, because right now we understand that any attack that will happen in Goma puts at risk the troops of the South African National Defense Forces who are in the protection of the AFC M23. So whoever attacks Goma right now is making these troops in these facilities to be in danger, because there can be a counterattack from the M23 and can put these forces in the middle of that warfare, and that is something that SADC will not want. That is the risk now that the M23 sees. If perhaps FARDC attacks from anywhere, or the Wazalendos attack from anywhere, they could injure or hurt the SAMIDRC troops that are based in that particular place. And the M23 are the ones who are going to be blamed because they are under their protection. So that is perhaps the risk that the M23 is seeing, that these troops now have to leave for us to only have the M23 controlling the entire territory, and then we'll have the FARDC, the Wazalendo, on these demarcations that the M23 has already put out. But again, there is another look at this. It can be a strategy by the M23 to put up pressure to Kinshasa to stop the attacks against the M23. And that seemingly has worked, because the National Coordinator of the Defense Army Reserve, Lieutenant General Padiri Bulenda, was summoned just recently to Demiap, from which he received injunctions to ask all Wazalendo to unconditionally stop attacks against the various AFC M23 positions. We know that the Wazalendos are the ones who have been pushing hard against the M23 on all these fronts. The FARDC have been very, very reluctant, or sometimes they're not very actively fighting the M23. They have been leaving all this to the Wazalendos. Therefore, the Wazalendos are the ones who have been putting up this fight against the M23. And this pressure now that has been put by the M23 to the SAMIDRC has now been extended to the Kinshasa government, and now the Kinshasa government has extended this pressure to the Wazalendos, and the leader of the Wazalendo has now been summoned to stop the attacks against the M23 in a strategy where one's enemy's strength has been used against them. Well, I will keep you informed of the latest of what is happening in Eastern DRC. Keep it bona fide.